Quite a weekend for the Donald. He botched a question about Russia and Ukraine, and he attacked grieving parents who lost their son fighting for the U.S. in Iraq. But the question is, will this be the trump card that hurts the Donald's campaign? And we also look at the state of the race and the newest polls just out showing who came out on top now that both conventions are in the books. Then a debate over the debates. Why Donald Trump is complaining about the dates they're supposed to be happening. Will he skip one of those like he's passed on the Fox News debate in the primaries? Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we're going to do something a little bit different off the top. We're going to start the program with a commentary. You know, by now, most of you have become pretty familiar with the story of the late Captain Khan and the surreal reaction of Donald Trump directed to his grieving parents. Now, for those who don't, here is a brief reprise. On Thursday night at the convention, Khan's parents remembered their Muslim American son, who in 2004, as a U.S. soldier in Iraq, was killed by a suicide bomber. A bomber that Khan approached after telling his fellow soldiers to stay back. For that gallantry, he was posthumously awarded a Purple Heart and Bronze Star for bravery, which may have saved the lives of fellow soldiers in his unit. There was a video remembering his actions, and it was followed by his parents appearing on stage to both honor their late son and also to speak directly to Donald Trump, who has made their faith and their place in America a central point in his campaign.
Captain Khan told his troops to get back, but he went forward. He took 10 steps toward the car before it exploded.
Have you even read the United States Constitution? I will gladly lend you my copy.
I got to tell you, as someone who was in the arena for the entire convention, for my money, the most powerful and moving moment. I saw military men getting choked up, and there was many not a dry eye in the house. But while it was an indelibly impactful moment, not in a million years would I have imagined that Donald Trump could, let alone would, engage Gold Star parents, all the while assuming the role of he being the aggrieved party. First, he insulted the mother, saying that she was silent on that stage because she was forbidden to speak, a complete lie. Then, Trump implied that the father's speech was in fact written for him, another lie. Then he said the father had, quote, no right to question his familiarity with the Constitution, and to top it off, Trump said it was he, Donald Trump, who deserved sympathy, not the Khan family, because he was, quote, viciously attacked by the father. He wouldn't let it go this weekend. When asked about the sacrifice made by the Khans, he made it about him.
How would you answer that, Father? What sacrifice have you made for your country?
I think I made a lot of sacrifices. I work very, very hard. I've created thousands and thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs, built great structures. I've had tremendous success. I think
those
I've done
are
a lot.
Sacrifices?
Oh, sure. I think they're sacrifices.
Like all of you, I've never seen or heard the kind of things that Trump has brought us the past 12 months. And if we're honest, like many in our industry, we have treated him as a caricature, and we've laughed as the clown car keeps delivering its daily spectacle. Sure, we point out that the charlatan's been hustling people for his entire adult life. He delights in mocking people for their faith, gender, ethnicity, disability, you name it. And he has not the faintest clue about current events, the law, and I would argue basic decency. But we all love the show, even if we weren't laughing along. I believe this is not funny anymore. The Khan family, and millions of American families like them, have heard for the past year that depending on where they're from, they're either rapists and thugs, or that their very faith makes them somehow less American and not to be trusted. So, when Mr. and Mrs. Khan grieved for their son, who volunteered to fight for this country and took those 10 steps forward and died for this country, to hear that Donald say over and over again that people like their boy are a threat to the nation he died protecting, Well, let's just say that they have far more grace due those parents than I would if he was talking about my son. Moreover, let's consider the source. Let me remind some of you who don't know this, that Donald Trump took not one, not two, not three, but 4 deferments to get out of Vietnam, citing issues with his foot, though when asked which foot, he couldn't recall if it was his right or his left. Again, this is the same Donald Trump who said the following about John McCain, who, if I need to remind anyone, spent 2 years getting tortured in as a Vietnamese POW because he refused an early release so as not to leave his fellow men behind.
I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, you know, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now, forget politics, forget parties, forget all that stuff. Who attacks Gold Star parents and POWs? Do you know anyone in your personal life who would do that? And what would you think of them if they did? But beyond the measure of a man, how about entrusting him as a commander-in-chief with our nuclear launch codes? Leave temperament aside for a moment. We know Trump's man crush on Putin. But did you hear what he said about Ukraine this past Sunday?
Why did you soften the GOP platform on Ukraine?
I wasn't involved in that.
Yeah, they took away the part of the platform calling for provision of lethal weapons to Ukraine to defend themselves. Why is that a good idea?
Look, you know, I have my own ideas. He's not going into Ukraine, okay? Just so you understand. He's not going to go into Ukraine. All right, you can mark it down, you can put it down, you can take it anywhere.
Well, he's
you
already
want.
there, isn't he?
Okay, well, he's there in a certain way, but I'm not there. You have Obama there.
Okay, I don't even know where to go with that. We all laughed at Rick Perry 4 years ago. Remember when he couldn't name basic departments of the federal government? And then at Sarah Palin 8 years ago for, well, basically everything. But when do we stop laughing at a candidate who will say anything, anytime, anywhere, without thought of decency and of consequence? When do we ask if he doesn't care, doesn't know better, or just doesn't know? I can tell you this much. We've got less than 100 days to figure it out. All right, we are going to jump to a quick commercial break. When we come back, though, I'll bring in the panel, and we're going to take a look at the latest numbers. As I said, less than 100 days to the election here. Where are those polls, and where are we headed? Stay with us.